There we go. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. Life is full of strange twists and turns. I have a couple of awesome guests today that I didn't expect, but obviously everything happens for a reason. They're on Long Island, New York, I believe. We're going to talk to them in a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds, whatever it is. But first, I got to read these incredible underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. So we have Rose Jewelers in Kingston. We have the Cornerstone Barbershop in Pembroke. We have Bay State Vape and Smoke in Taunton. We have Countertops Express in North Attleboro, experts in the installation, removal of quartz and granite. We have X-Drive Motors Incorporated in West Bridgewater. We have Solange Giovanni in Marshfield. We have Tom Auto in Middleborough. We have Evan Young Realty, that's my brother, the realtor. We have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialists in Abington, right up the road on Route 58. And we have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. And I want to thank you guys very much. And now this is, it's Tiffany Mccarty, is that it?
That is correct.
Okay, and you and Sandra Schunk are there together. You're on Long Island, right?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful Long Island, and it worked out great.
Well, she's from Long Island. I'm from actually Florida.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you look like a Florida girl. You got that blonde, that fair-skinned blonde look. Okay.
We're both now in St. August.
You know, you two can. She's talking about the background. But you guys can share the honors of switching the phone back and forth. It's up to you.
Okay, here.
Yes, and we can talk. I can talk to both of you. Okay. Hey, Sandra, how you doing? You're the one I set the interview up with.
Exactly, but I'm not ready for the interview, so I'm pushing Tiffany out there because she needs to be interviewed. She did a great job of losing a lot of weight, and she works out, and she's healthy today.
Okay, well,
hold on.
All right, Tiffany, let's talk about that. I listen, I'm into health and fitness too, so I get it. I know I've been, I feel pretty good. I'm 65 and a half and I work out every day. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that metamorphosis that your friend just described and tell me how that went down.
Well, about 4 years ago, I got to probably my heaviest weight. I was almost 400 pounds. I was 398 to be exact. And I just kept having a lot of health issues. My husband at the time was an alcoholic and abusive. So I kind of actually had I guess you can say an eating disorder.
Yeah.
That had me eating over emotions and stress of finances, things of that nature. And then one day I just woke up and said, I can't live like this anymore. And I started changing my life around. The company that I work for inspired me.
All right, quick question. Tell me about the company. What was it? And how did they inspire you?
Well, it's a water bottling company, and really it wasn't necessarily the inspiration of just the company itself, but the employees that I work with in the facility. I don't know, we all came together and just kind of like inspired each other to do this weight loss challenge.
Okay.
And it started out through our peak season. And our peak season starts in April. And then in June, we did it's kind of like a quarter check. And then in August, we did, it's like a 3/4 check of our weight loss. And then the finalized results was in October. And we just did our own weight loss on our own type of diet and our own type of challenge. But the initial percentage of weight loss was the biggest challenge of them all. And I don't know, I just succeeded at that point and I continued. And I had only lost probably about 60 pounds during that time frame.
Okay.
But whenever I just continued my lifestyle change, I didn't look at it as a weight loss. I didn't look at it as a diet. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people look at, when they're trying to lose weight, you're looking at just going on a diet. If you're looking at just going on a diet, you're never going to lose that weight.
I know. I've been on that road too. When I was a kid, I was heavy and I got picked on every day in school. And it wasn't actually until my early 20s when I turned vegetarian in 1982, 43 years ago, that I lost inches on my waist. I lost weight and I got muscle tone because I started working out. I'd already been, but I took everything sort of happened in time, but nothing happens right away. And I know how that is. I know how frustrating it can be. So how many people took this challenge in your company? About at least 10, you think?
There was at least 10 of us. About halfway through the challenge, everybody just saw the big difference that I was making. So it was kind of like everybody was just rooting me on.
It sounds like you got the ball rolling though.
Yes, yeah. The inspiration came from them, but when I continued and everything, everybody just started rooting me on, and I don't know, the inspiration just kept going. I never even won the challenge.
Okay.
But I won out of all of it because I can tell you out of the whole entire group, I probably am the only one still doing the initial life change.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still working for this company?
I am.
Okay, so you're all right because now tell me about, I do this with every guest. I like that you're from Florida originally, and tell me about how that came to be. What were you like as a child? What did you do back then? I'm just wondering. I think life is an epic journey, and everything that happens is sort of a result of what it's like. Everything is dominoes. From the day we're born, dominoes start falling, and then as we proceed through life, they just keep falling, and somehow they're all connected. So let's talk, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about, you as a kid, and then we'll work our way to the future. So can we do that? Tell me a little about yourself as a kid.
So when I was a child, I actually, my parents were young whenever they had me.
Right.
My mom was 17 and she was still in high school.
Yep.
So she was carrying me on her hip when she was getting her diploma.
Wow.
But
Right.
My father was he was probably about 4 or 5 years older than her, I believe, and he had already been graduated. He was a lot older, and I don't know, like my biological father was an abusive alcoholic.
Yeah.
So when I was 3, my mother left him.
Yep.
And then she had to pick up multiple jobs, working all the time. I became the big sister that overlooked my little sister. And then, had some more trauma that had happened. I became, at a very young age, I was under a lot of stress. The doctors actually even told my mother I would break out in hives.
Wow.
And they told my mother that I was breaking out in hives under stress.
Okay.
And just a lot of different things that had happened in my childhood that eventually ended me into eating out of comfort.
Yep.
I would eat, I was also not diagnosed at a young age. I should have been diagnosed ADHD.
Okay.
So along with ADHD, that was another, I guess with ADHD, you kind of create a habit of eating.
Yep.
Because you're so busy doing multiple different things and your brain doesn't ever shut down. So when your brain doesn't ever shut down and you have all kinds of different negativity things going around you.
Right. The distractions.
You just so I developed that eating disorder at a very young age. So I was a very big girl my whole life, not extremely big, but I was a very heavy set girl. And my mother tried her best to coach me, but in all of the trauma that I experienced with my biological father, and then the getting picked on at school, and all of that just kind of made me push back with my mom, I think. So I didn't really start. I dieted. I tried everything, like from the time I was 13 until all the way up until now. I mean, I was at a point about 6 or 7 years ago where I was just like, I mean, nothing's ever going to work. I'm going to go have this. I'm going to have this surgery. And I don't know. I started reading up on the what you're putting in your body and your digestive. Like, it's not just dieting. There was a couple of comments, a couple quotes that I came across that really just stuck out to me. And when you're dieting, you can't look at it as a diet. You've got to look at it as a life-changing event.
Right.
And you got to change it for yourself long term.
Okay. When you were a child, were you involved in any I mean, aside from the negative stuff, did you do anything positive? Did you play music, sing, dance?
Yep. I played softball for 9 years. My mom kept me in softball.
Cool.
And that was
You
one
were
of the
active,
biggest
obviously,
things.
at least.
Yes. That
Okay.
was so like that was one of the biggest things that she did do, is like she kept me as active as possible.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I very much struggled on that with the emotional or bored eating. I would bored eat too. So as I got older, I knew that. So I've always stayed in fast-paced, busy physical jobs. And I don't know. I just 4 years ago made these big changes and been continuing it ever since.
Okay. I assume that, I know it's like when you're heavy and you're a kid, the other kids give you a hard time all the time, right? Was it like that for you? Or were there more positive people in your life too?
There was times that I had kids that were very positive. A lot of negativeness affected my childhood for, just being picked on or being the last person picked in gym or things of that nature. And it does put a lot of emotional strain on you. But at the same time, like I said, it literally sculpted me into the person that I am today. So I wouldn't change it for the world.
Okay, right, good. Okay, now this was in Florida that you're talking about. When did you migrate to Long Island from Florida, and what was the reason for that?
No.
I have not been in Long Island. I'm a friend of Sandra's that
We met
haven't made it to Long Island yet. She's
Aren't you
going
on
to
Long Island now? Isn't that Long Island you're at now?
No.
We're in St. Augustine,
Are you
Florida.
in Florida now?
Yes.
St.
Oh,
Augustine.
you're in Florida. All right, great. I didn't know that. Well, that's why we asked these questions. Well, how did you guys meet?
So I met Sandra down here.
Okay.
And I will actually hand her off and let her explain a little bit more.
Okay, I hope you had fun talking to me. You were great. All right, Sandra, let's talk to you. We've been Facebook friends for.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hey, you look great. You both do.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I met her in St. Augustine. I guess you could say we were both going through some traumatizing times. And in the last year, she's been kind of my strength. I've been kind of her strength. I raised an autistic daughter.
Right.
And she's been of great help to me and Jade. So that will be our next story on autism.
Okay.
That'll be my story. But this is how Tiffany and I met, so she can meet you actually and get her story going.
Okay, it was great. Well, you and I had a long talk back in February, and somehow we never got that showing. But I always say everything happens for a reason, and here we are today. So you told me some really fascinating things, and I know once you get going, you have a lot on you have a lot of in your repertoire of events. So let's focus on some of the things we talked about. You told me, oh, I don't know. You tell me, well, tell me about what your childhood was like, and then I see if I can remember any of the stuff. You told me so much stuff. We talked for like 2 hours, but then we never did the show. But now we're doing it, so let's see if we can get it out here in the public domain.
That's why I was waiting for another show.
Okay.
However, we were actually talking about how I won basically the first case on my daughter Jade's being diagnosed with autism when she was lead paint poisoned.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
She was diagnosed with lead paint poison at around 11 months, and she was talking at that point, and she stopped talking, and I came home from work one day and noticed that her gums were blue. And as a child, I was at the Bronx Zoo, and they were doing a special report on lead paint poisoning the panthers and the leopards at that time, the lead paint in their cages.
Yeah.
So they were supposed to do some kind of ban the lead paint from this country at that time on the news. So as I got on it, I remember being so excited because I didn't know at that time, I think I was maybe 11, about lead paint and from China, lead paint, when they had all them recall toys. It was just, I had a gut feeling when I saw her gums blue. I remembered this one panther that stuck out. He had blue gums, and it was like he smiled at me.
Okay.
And I smiled back. So when she stopped talking at 11 months, she was talking around 9 months, and she just like started losing her words. I was like, smile at me, Jade, talk to me. And when she smiled, I had a flashback of this panther.
Okay.
And then I started remembering the lead paint chip-ins. I happen to have gone through a lot of storms. I like chasing storms. So Rockaway Beach, where I'm from, we had like a storm come through, and I had a leak in the ceiling, and I looked down after I saw the gums being blue, paint floating on where there was like a puddle from the leak in the ceiling. And I just had flashbacks, and I called the doctor and I said, oh my God, I think Jade has lead paint poison. And sure enough, she did. She was at a very high level.
Wow.
And
Wait
yeah.
a minute, did you get it from the zoo? I mean, what is this?
She got it from the paint chip-ins in the house.
Oh, in the house. Okay.
Although they were supposed to ban lead paint,
Right.
the homeowners at that time, in the 70s, they never really went through with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
However,
in the store or an adolescent. Right. Okay.
we had passed the bill in 2003, the Cochran firm.
Okay.
Judge Klieger was the attorney on the case. And we had finally got the bill passed after the fact of her poisoning. Our house was knocked to the ground.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had other children. So it was a long road. They knocked the house down for, it was very high levels of lead, and then they found other things. So in 2003, after I started a lawsuit against the homeowners for not putting that ban on, they finally did in, I think, 2003. It really should be Jade's Law. It was never put on because I was still in trial, but I wanted it to be Jade's Law. And shortly after that, getting back on our feet, giving her early intervention was a lifesaver. I've given her the best education in the Lawrence district of Long Island, and she's graduated. She's made it to grade 15 without ever being late or absent from class.
Sweet.
She,
How
Jade is
her grade's good. You know, I have autism too, and you can still be, autism is, you can use it as a pivot point for success too. I know because I have.
right. She is, like you said, there's different levels. Now, I just happened to was doing like doctor research, to find out exactly what was going on in Jade's body. So I came to something I had looked up, and I think it was on Google, and it just made so much sense to me that our bodies as human beings, male, female, whatever sex, our kidneys are not fully grown till the age of 7. So here we go. By the age of 7, when your kidney is fully grown, you can release all that lead and toxic waste at the age of 7. And now you go to school, and this is where they start. Your child has a learning lesson. Your child is this. Your child is that. You could test them all you want, and the lead isn't going to come out because it's out. I just happened to catch it very early because of the incident I had at the zoo.
Wow. Okay.
And,
Yeah, all right.
like things play a role in your head that you remember as a child, and they bounce back to you like it's like connecting the pieces, I guess.
Yeah.
So I said, well, now they go to school, and now they want to find out why they have this, learning disability, and it could be anything at that point because the kidney is grown by then. So it's very important to really watch. I just happen to have a thing against lead paint poisoning from China, being that now years later, she's in school, elementary, and I would decorate my house. I would have like 3 different Christmas scenes for Christmas, a Hanukkah scene, very well dressed. And a UPS worker at that time kept picking up boxes for me instead of delivering boxes to put under these trees. I had like a white Christmas tree,
Okay.
white Christmas thing. So he's like, why are you returning all these toys? I said, they're from China and they will all be recalled. I pushed out that talking Dora dollhouse,
Yep.
and he said, wow. Okay, a week later, he comes back with that box, and he said, they said it wasn't on a recall yet. So I had to call down to the president of China, look them up. It was actually a girl. Her name was Barbara. And I remember I was just very insulted because I wanted like lead-free toys to be made for kids, because that's the danger age, when they teeth, when they bite on it. And everything's made with lead.
Okay. Well,
So when your child is at a young age, it goes right through your skin. It can go right through your skin.
right here.
And it goes through your bloodstream, acts as an oxygen to your brain, because you cannot release it. You
Okay.
cannot cleanse your body up.
Mommy.
So we're on
So,
the final.
well, like,
That's it. That's fascinating. So we're on the final 5 minutes of the show. My tech guy
this
just.
is Jade.
What's that?
Would you like to meet Jade? Say hello,
Oh.
Jade. Hi.
Hi, Jade. Wow.
Now Jade is going to be 25.
Congratulations.
She is an artist. She is an artist. She's
Mommy.
a Zumba diva.
Everybody look.
She dances, plays
Mama.
music. She's very active.
Mommy. Aw.
So I'm very proud of Jade. I'm very proud of myself. Life changes, but it's going to change anyway.
Mommy.
So
All right, listen.
gotta go down that road.
Everybody loves
Everybody
me.
loves you.
You had a great,
Jade's trying to seek attention.
we had a great show. All 3 of you did a wonderful job. So what I'm going to do is we're going to wrap the show up. Would you mind sticking around for pictures? My tech guy will take them, and then I'll tag you in them.
Okay, but which
All of you.
okay.
All right, folks. Going to wrap the show up. See you in a few weeks when we're able to come back to Area 58 and more great Topic Time episodes. stay loose and wrapping up and snapping out.
Aw,
You can snap too if you want, as long as this thing works.
mommy.
Yeah.
I'll see my dad Friday. Mommy.
Go ahead and snap.
Snap, snap,
I did.
snap, 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 snap. Harrison, Blake, Harrison, Blake.